Hey friends, welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Oleg. This is one and only Mr. Bond. It is known that we like watches. In today's video, we're going to do a review of a new Singapore micro brand called Dailos. Now, what's special about this micro brand diver watch is the price for value, or value for price. You get a titanium diver watch with 300 meters of water resistance, a Seiko NH35 automatic movement, and a sapphire crystal. All of that for 300 bucks. Pretty impressive, huh? So is the watch any good? That's what I'm going to try to answer in this video. Now, before we get started, a couple of things to keep in mind. Number one, this is a prototype version. It's not a final production version. There will be some differences between this and the final production version. I will point out those differences as they come up. The second thing you should know is that Dailos said they will send me one of these watches if their campaign is successful. Now, that's not going to affect the review in any way. Just want to be transparent. Now, let's get started with the review. This watch has a diameter of 40 millimeters, so from this point to this point, but excluding the crown and the crown guards. It has a lug-to-lug distance of 47.5 millimeters, so from this point to this point. The lug width is 20 millimeters, and the thickness of the case is 13.7 millimeters, including the domed sapphire crystal. Here's the watch on my 7.5 inches wrist. Really like the fit of this one. 40 millimeter diameter, kind of great for a diver watch, for an everyday diver watch, so to speak. It also has a very comfortable weight, largely due to the case material. It's made out of reinforced titanium, so the weight is only 108 grams. If you size it correctly, which by the way, it has plenty of micro adjustments, so that shouldn't be too hard, you almost don't really feel this watch on your hand because it's so damn light. Once you wear a titanium watch for a while, other stainless steel watches, especially stainless steel divers, just seem too overweight. Placing the crown at the 4 o'clock position means that the crown almost never digs into your wrist. The only thing that you should keep in mind that the watch is not that thin. It doesn't wear overly thick. It's under 14 millimeters thick, and actually on the wrist it looks slimmer. I'd say this one wears very similar to Seiko SKX in terms of its thickness. Speaking of Seiko SKX, here are the two watches side by side. On the right we have Seiko SKX, on the left we have the Dailos. As you can see, Seiko looks larger because it is larger, 42mm case diameter versus 40mm case diameter. I prefer the watch on the left. I think SKX looks a little bloated when you see the two watches side by side. I prefer the slimmer case on the Dailos, but there's no question that the inspiration behind this watch was the Seiko SKX case. Both watches have the crown at the 4 o'clock position. Both watches have these interesting cases. Both watches have very similar thickness. But this micro brand watch does put Seiko SKX to shame with its specs, with its finishes, and with the materials used. As mentioned, the watch has a titanium case. It's a reinforced titanium. Pretty nice satin or brushed finish all around the case and on the bracelet, except for a few polished accents here on the sides of the case and on the lugs. Looks pretty good actually. It's a nice polished accent. Now, I've been told by the team from Dailos that the polished accent will carry on throughout the bracelet, so they're gonna have a little chamfered edge here. I don't necessarily think that's absolutely needed, but that would be a nice addition. The bracelet is also made out of reinforced titanium. Dailos signed clasp, 4 micro adjustments here, double pushers for the release. It's a nice engineered clasp here. Nothing too special about it. No diver extension, nothing like that. Now, this is clearly a diver watch with a screw-down crown at the 4 o'clock position with the Dailos logo there. It also has a screw-down case back. There's an engraving of an anchor on this case back and some specs about the watch. The action on the crown, pretty good. So the first position is the winding position, second position is the date change, third position is the setting the time position, and of course the watch has hacking seconds hand. Now, you probably guessed by now which movement the watch has. It has a Seiko NH35 movement. Of course it does. It's a popular choice for microbrand watches. Nothing wrong with this movement. In fact, it's a perfect choice of a movement for a watch in this price category. The watch costs $300 on Kickstarter, which is pretty incredible for a titanium diver watch with an automatic Seiko movement. A sapphire crystal. It's a nicely domed sapphire with some AR coating. and a ceramic bezel insert. Now the bezel on this prototype version is very poor. It has so much backplay. It's way too easy to turn. It's a 90-click bezel, so actually the owner of Dailos said that they are going to improve the bezel action on the final production version. It's going to be a 60-click unidirectional bezel. They're going to tighten it so it doesn't have as much backplay, and they're also going to increase the resistance because right now the bezel is just way too easy to turn. In fact, Dailos team is addressing a lot of issues that I've had with this watch. One of those issues was these screw-in-place pins. Now, don't get me wrong, I complain about push-style pins, so having screw-down pins is a huge step up, especially for a watch in this price category. However, the way these pins work, they're double-sided, so you need two little screwdrivers to operate, and it's not very user-friendly. In fact, it's a big pain in the neck to resize this bracelet. So what they're going to do, they're going to put a more traditional one-sided screw in this bracelet. Not as reliable on a titanium bracelet, but a lot more user-friendly. Another part of the watch that's user-friendly are these lug holes. I wish more companies would do that. Just makes changing the bracelet super easy. Taking a closer look at this dial, I think they made a lot of right choices. The date window at the 3 o'clock position with a nice border around it and a date wheel color matched to the dial. Great job on that. Normally I'm not a big fan of date wheels on watches. I think on this one it doesn't throw the symmetry off. I think it looks really good. Also, not too much writing here, just Dailos logo and Dailos written closer to the 12 o'clock position. Waveform, that's the name of this diver. 300 meters and automatic written closer to the 6 o'clock position. That's about it. We also have a chapter ring going around the dial for the seconds tracking. The seconds hand reaches all the way out to the chapter ring. Good to see. A nice attractive set of hands here, although the finishing on the hands is not the nicest. For a watch in this price category under 300 bucks, I'll give it a pass. It's not too bad. Applied indices for hour marks and quite a few layers of BGW Super Luminova on the indices and the hands, as well as the triangle on the bezel. Here's the lume video for you. The lume itself is okay. It's not Zelos level, but it will get the job done. The dial color is very interesting. It has this slight sunburst effect. They could have just gone for a simple black dial, which would make the watch a little boring. Choosing a dial like this adds a little bit of that X factor to the watch and just makes it stand out a little bit more. What also makes it stand out is this ceramic bezel insert with slightly raised Arabic numerals for 10, 20, 30, and 50. It looks really cool, and the way it plays with the light, the way it reflects the light, it's kind of unique. I haven't seen many watches do this, especially many micro-brand watches do this. It's almost mirror finished here. Now some people might find that to be a negative and a bit distracting, a little bit too shiny, too flashy. For me, I quite like it. I think it gives a nice visual interest to this watch. Titanium watches could appear a little bit boring. They appear like tool watches, which is kind of the point. But if you want a little bit of a flash on your wrist, I think this dial and this bezel insert would get the job done. As far as the negatives go, I think Dailos is doing a good job addressing all the issues with this prototype. They will address the issue with the bezel. I think that's the biggest negative so far. They will also replace these screws, which is a good thing because they're not very easy to use. Now, they also said that they will try to improve the finishes on the hands and on the indices. Not really sure how much those finishes could be improved and the price still be kept under $300 with these specs and titanium case. Now, the last negative that I have, I guess, some quality control issues. The date wheel doesn't seem to align perfectly. That's just maybe on this prototype. The final production version might not have that. It's just something that I noticed. What a time to be a watch collector. Just a few years ago, having a titanium diver watch for under 300 bucks just sounded like a crazy idea. Here we are, 2020, you can back this campaign and get this titanium diver for 300 bucks. Pretty incredible. A couple of things. Number one, the watch, yeah, it's not perfect and it's kind of weird to review this sample because a lot of things will still be improved for the final production version. So you have to kind of believe the company that they will in fact improve these things, and the improvements that they make to the watch, mainly the bezel, it's going to be effective and it's going to improve the user experience. Because right now, the bezel is the biggest negative. It's very poor. It sounds bad, it's too easy to turn. too much backplay, just a very bad bezel. So with the improvement, hopefully it's much better, but again, we have to kind of take them at their word. And that is sort of the problem with a lot of Kickstarter campaigns. You have to have some faith in these companies that you back. From what I've seen, I am fairly impressed with this watch. I think if they're able to deliver on all the promises that they have made, it's going to be a very competitive value for money proposition. I'm excited to see how the campaign goes. I wish them nothing but the best, and hopefully they're successful on Kickstarter. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We release new videos every week. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this diver watch. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you gonna back this campaign? Are you gonna leave this one alone? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I always enjoy reading them. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing Yama GMT. I did a full review of this watch. That video can be found on the YouTube channel. I will also leave it linked in the description below. Also in the description below, there are a couple of other links. The first link is a secret link. Have a look if you're curious. The second link is a link to bondnativestraps.com if you're looking for a great quality native strap and want to support this YouTube channel at the same time. Buying one of these native straps is a great way to do so. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Excuse me, sir. You ready? Need to make your camera ready. Wipe all the boogies. Okay. Wipe all your drool. All right. You ready, Mr. Bond?